Welcome to the third day of the Privacy-Enhancing Technologies module. Today I'll be talking about anonymous communication. We're going to start discussing why do we need anonymous communications. My name is Leonardo Martucci and I'll be guiding you in the slides. We are now on day 3 of the PETS module structure. We already know about secure communications, so how to secure the communication between Alice and Bob, and you already have seen the introduction to this module. For the next 2 days, we're going to be seeing databases and some other additional topics around pets. In this part on anonymous communications, we are going to discuss why do we need anonymous communications. The other lectures, they're going to be on mixes, which is a type of anonymous communication mechanism, and the other one will be about Tor, so divide that in 2 parts, an introduction to Tor and one lecture on Tor Onion services. And that will be followed by with an interview with Stephen Murdoch from Vasco Data Systems and also from UCL, where he works as a lecturer in computer security. We already know that secure communications work. So if Alice wants to speak to Bob and they properly encrypt their message or they decipher it, Eve will be listening to this communication channel, will not have access to that. For instance, if you connect to any service on the internet that provides secure communication, the communication is secured in principle end-to-end. It means from the user, Alice, to the server, Bob, or the server, Skatteverket, for instance, as you see in your slides. And therefore, Eve won't have access to this data. But we need to ask ourselves, what else could matter for Eve, or what else matters for Eve that she would like to know and she will not be able to achieve from this communication channel that's encrypted? What Eve will be able to do is to find out who talks to whom. So in this case, even if the communication is secure, Eve will know that Alice spoke to Bob. Eve doesn't have access to the contents of the communication, but Eve will already know that this communication happened in the space of time. The conclusion here is that metadata matters. So metadata is everything, this information that's carried out with information that's not necessarily the payload or the content of the data. So the times of communication, these relationships between users, this is part of metadata. And metadata in privacy matters a lot. If, for instance, Alice talks with a social network service or another or different social network services, or if Alice uses like a website or talks to the police or to the nurse or the tax authority, all those communications could be tracked by Eve, who would have a complete picture what are the communication partners of Eve and when those communications take place and also how often they take place. So in this case, for instance, Alice talks a lot to the police or a lot to the tax authority, then Eve will have some information or some personal data about Alice that she should not have access to. Hence, in this module, we're going to be talking about anonymous communications, more specifically about anonymous communication protocols. It means how actually achieve one or more of these 3 properties that I'm presenting here in the slides: sender anonymity, recipient anonymity, or relationship anonymity. The first case, sender anonymity, is the case that Eve cannot identify who is talking to Bob from a group of people, if you recall the anonymity set that is trying to reach out for Bob with a message. In case of recipient anonymity, if Alice is sending a message to a group of people, the anonymity set, then Eve won't be able to figure out who actually from this anonymity set received the message sent by Alice. In case of relationship anonymity, given 2 anonymity sets, one of senders and another one of recipients, Eve cannot identify if a message that's transmitted between those 2 groups, from whom it originated from and to whom is going to be sent to. If you want to know more about sender-recipient relationship anonymity, please go back to the Fitzman-Hansen terminology on page 15. And that's it for this session on why do we need anonymous communication. Next, we're going to be talking about mixes.